Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a little more Faceit League action. It's felt like a long time since I last saw y'all. I gotta be honest. It's been a very long few days. Dex, of course, held down the fort a little bit over on Friday with some of his own games. I managed to take a peek when I had the opportunity. Well, I was out in the sticks, Dex, but hey, we're here. We're focused on South America early in the week. Micro taking on Phantom Fatties. This is an interesting game, to say the least, Dex, because Phantom Fatties have been a team that has been striking up a fair amount and keeping things rather competitive.
Yeah, I mean, even the game that I covered with them on Friday, even though they lost that 1-3, every map was hyper competitive. Actually, check that. Two of the maps were hyper competitive. One map they kind of just got rolled on, but outside that, the other two maps that we played were very back and forth. They just weren't able to come out on top of. One player, though, Hunter, I don't know how much you watch. You really have to be watching out for on this Phantom Fatty squad. Is Bulbaro, their tank player. That tank player really impressed me on Friday, and I think that they could really be able to bounce back here tonight against Microrundas 200W. But still, Microrundas, or Micro, as we're gonna probably call him throughout the night, currently sitting 4-1 on the season. A win here moves up to 5-1 with only a couple more games left to go after that. They're setting themselves up for a nice little comfortable spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, they most certainly are. They're sitting in a really good position right now, but obviously nothing is settled quite yet. They still have a couple of big wins to get in, and I think this is really important going into the entire week to kind of keep that momentum going, because this is a reschedule of a game that was already meant to happen. So to my understanding, they're going to have 3 games going on this week, puts them in, quite frankly, a very interesting predicament when you think about it. But we'll have to see what goes down. As right now, we're just waiting for these votes to go through. We're starting at Lijiang Tower as Micro is going to get our first band started.
Yeah, not surprised to see Lijiang Tower first. I feel like this season has been, we've actually seen a lot of parity when it comes to control maps. Normally, we would always see one map get played throughout, maybe sprinkle in another map here and there. But I feel like this season, we've been able to see really all the maps in the map pool, in this control map pool, throughout the entirety of it. It's been really fun to see that. While yes, Lijiang has normally been the fallback for these teams, for a lot of teams, you're still seeing teams pick Busan. You're still seeing teams pick, I'm forgetting what the other one is, but you're still seeing teams pick that one as well. However, first ban coming in here, and immediately Micro wants to get rid of the Winston. Hunter, you're going to love it here tonight, because Bulbaro, what they showed me on Friday, they are an incredible Winston player.
All right, well, you make me a very happy individual already. I gotta say that, at the very least. But having Winston banned out, it still does sadden the soul. I can never take away that sting that comes through when you see the Winston be taken away from us in such a manner. But either way, this is just them knowing the opponents very well, and they're like, hey, we just don't have to deal with this. We don't want to go into a map like Lijiang, where if you go to something like Garden, that Winston can be pretty strong, and honestly, I think you can realistically force it on others, depending on the situation. But I think it's just solid. Get out of the way, give her some starting momentum.
Yes, other band did come in. We'll figure out what that is here momentarily. Support and DPS was the only ones that they could ban out there. So you look over to support line, Lucio, Kiri, probably the two ones you would expect to see get banned out there. DPS line, feels like it's a little bit of everything right now, Hunter. We've seen so many teams make a lot of different stuff work. It really comes down to a base by base thing, or a team by team thing here. But if you're looking at that DPS line, maybe something like a Tracer, force that flex DPS player, maybe playing something a little bit different. If you're looking at that hit scan, maybe you don't want to see the Emre, maybe you don't want to see the Soj. Cassidy, I feel like, has had a little bit of a resurgence here as of late, and I cannot be happier about it.
Yeah, the same thing goes here. I like that, because we will have characters that simply, for a while, they will go out of rotation. They're just not particularly strong. There's not a really good niche for them, but then slowly they build their way back in, and we see that come to form. And it's nice that we kind of get that rotation nowadays, where we're not stuck with the same 5 characters for 4 months straight like we were before. There's definitely still very strong pairings. Things like the Diva Emre is definitely up there. The Zarya Vendetta, while I think a little more less so played, is still a really easy thing to go to. But I like that we're kind of seeing more of that development go through. We'll see how much it goes for today, especially as we're just waiting for these lineups to finalize, because while Micro only has 5 members, it is a 7-man lineup for Phantom Fatty, so they do have Nozomi and Eclipse waiting in the wings to come in at any time.
Yeah, and just talking about the comps and heroes we've been able to see. I mean, you look at something like OWCS, where I think this may be the first time since maybe the first season of it, maybe stage 1 of season 1 of WCS, where you're actually seeing regions have some unique identities when it comes to compositions here. You see something different in Korea, something different in EMEA, something different in NA. However, there is some things that overlap with each other, but yet each one has its own unique identity, which has been really fun to see here as of late. And I mean, you got to give Team Peps a shout for really getting that Hazard kind of comp going. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them at all. But I mean, they really started to make it work. It was close to winning some maps, especially against some really good teams as well. But you start to see Hazard be played a little bit here in Faceit League, especially in North America as well. I think we even saw, I believe I even saw it a little bit on Friday here in South America. I believe it actually was Boro. I believe there was one map where we did see the Winston get banned out and Hazard was their go-to here. So those identities are really, really strong here for every region. In South America, Hunter, me and you talked about it in the first season that we started covering South America, where maybe they were ahead of the curve with some of their compositions because they were playing that Orisa before everyone else played Orisa a little bit there.
Yeah, and turns out the Orisa about like a month later was the most played tank for a pretty substantial period of time. So sometimes it's just them getting a good beat on things. I mean, Goats wasn't discovered by some like absolute genius going on, like who's massive on the scene. It was this Cloud9, or not this Cloud9. It was literally just the team named Goats, a random tier 2 team that created a comp, and then it became the thing that was used by literally everybody for almost a year's time. It's that simple as to how things can develop. So hopefully no more Goats again, unless it's just for a single weekend. We'll hopefully have that later this year. But we have that lobby open up, just waiting for both the teams to get in. I do already see, Dex, that there is a streamer name online for Micros, so we'll figure out who that is really quickly here.
Luckily, there's only 5 of them here, but the second band coming in, actually a little bit more of an interesting band coming in here because you don't really see the hero that often. Maybe the least played hero of the newest 5, and that is Mizuki coming in right now as the second band from Phantom Fatties here. So maybe they know something about Micro. Maybe Mizuki has been something that has been a little bit of a mainstay for them. I feel like you've seen teams really experiment with Mizuki because he does a decent amount of damage and a decent amount of healing. I mean, he has the best of both worlds, but he doesn't really have anything that provides a lot to the team. And I think that's why you see a lot of teams necessarily stick away from him and stick with, the...
You turned your mic off, Dex. You have either actually turned your mic off, or you did something or another, but you are not being heard, good sir. So hopefully, we'll figure that out very quickly. But either way, while we... Oh, okay, so you need to make sure you update your video edit really quick. So I'll keep it going for the time being. We'll get the first thing rocking and rolling. So out of the gate, we're seeing the M-Ray make its display, which is not a surprise in the slightest. Realistically, Off Black and Reach both going at it to get things started here in this matchup. Now, Boboro being over on the Jungle Queen is certainly interesting. I think it's still a really nice alternative that can play very fast, that can sustain a lot as well. It can help put you into a really good position. It's already first casualty out. It's going to be a little bit of Lucio warfare that has gone down as eventually body's going to burn away. Micros put themselves in a really good position overall here. They're getting ready to clean this up. Just a couple more to take care of, Dex, but I believe you're back up and running.
Yep, and use propaganda. That's actually Lakachu there. Someone that we've definitely seen in the past, and you already see Wazy going in, just gonna kind of swing themselves around and get right back with their team. They're getting some valuable data here. But right now, you look at Bobro over on this Jungle Queen. This should be something that really matches well into Wazy, and you need to be able to shut them down early on here, or that ball is just become a little bit too fast and a little bit too much momentum based. But already look at the split that's coming in here from Phantom Fatties.
Yeah, and we know how critical that ball can be, how much it can draw attention away. Boboro is pretty much on a realm of their own right now. It has to be extremely careful as pressure eventually brought over towards the point. Off Black forces the ball to jump back, and now that puts you in advantage, but you have to eventually find another target to go to right now because eventually Mochu is going to get back into this fight. Already both DPS are down, so unfortunately your time to strike has left. Striker mostly going to try to get out with Boboro, take a reset. They're still fighting in there, trying to get anything Dex, but right now it is just complete desperation, and the supports, unfortunately, are going to have to take these deaths, take the reset.
Yeah, Striker just taking the second jump off the map right there as a reset. And already you're seeing Wazy do the exact same thing, kind of just roll through, get some intel, and come right back. But look, already 61% and counting right now for Micro. If you're Phantom Fatties here, you really need to figure out something quickly, as already the override protocol coming out from Reach.
Yeah, and then the immediate follow-up as well coming through there from Shin. With Boboro, just almost nothing you could do there. Just separated away. Daisy would love to get out alive, but such is just not going to happen. 80% on the board. A full list of ultimates available, by the way, but you have the touch for it to matter.
Yeah, and you still look over at the other side. The only thing that was invested that fight from Micro was the override protocol. So they're not necessarily, you know, strapped for ultimates either here. They're going to have a good set ready to go. Kitsune Rush out, and there's the mine as well.
Yep, and Soundbarrier going to be throwing out, so Pulse Bomb not going to get any inherent value. Double Kitsune Rush is here as well, and you see Striker knocked off the map is able to barely TP in time, but Daisy's going to have to try to be the hero for this squad. Is going to have the Pulse Bomb ready to go. Looking for the target right now. You do see Wazy hanging around on the outside. The moment that slam goes down, you're looking for that Pulse Bomb to come through, but for the time being, Wazy is sticking up, hanging around. Daisy waiting for that perfect opportunity, but let me tell you, I don't know if a perfect opportunity is simply going to present itself, as they're going to barely get back to the point in time, but Dex, it looks like they will eventually clean this thing up. 99% on the board for Micro, as eventually they will fall over.
Yeah, and this is exactly kind of what the Phantom Fatties needed. Even though if they end up losing this point, at least they were able to take a fight to them. It was a pretty heavy ult fight. All 5 ultimates for them came out, well, 4 of the other ultimates there that were the only ones ready for Micro came out. So you will take that. Sometimes you need to play like that to go your way, and sometimes you need something like that to go your way as well. Boro with a nice pull there to force Wazy into the pond, instantly going to stagger out Micro here a little bit longer, allowing this Phantom Fatties team to get a little bit better set up here on this point, as you already start to see a little bit of a split come out here from Micro.
Yeah, 100%. Again, Wazy is going to go all the way in the back, try to draw away some attention. Is exactly what you want. To try to catch somebody out in the wrong area, force as many cooldowns as possible, make it easier for everybody else to do their thing, and Reach being booped off the map is a really unfortunate way for this one to go down, as Wazy is going to be able to get out of there. Resets more than likely to come through, as Shin still hanging around there. Gets the mega health back, should be able to sustain for the moment.
This is one thing I really like about this Phantom Fatties comp is they can just kind of bunker on point here. Really force attacks to come in from Micro and then know how to deal with them. Because you know Wazy's just going to roll through and try to open up space here for both Shin and Reach to find something. Pulse Bomb out though from Shin, not going to be able to find anything, but Dalka does find Daisy.
Yeah, now separation of Overwatch just has nobody with. It's just too far for the beat as well. So now, unfortunately, I don't know if this is going to matter a whole lot. Off Black is there to try to find some kind of body, but no one is willing to openly present themselves, as the flip will eventually come through. 99 on the board, as Touch is going to start coming through one at a time right here. Getting rid of Wazy would be a great way to get this thing rolling. It's literally one, but gets knocked off the edge. Instead, Boboro is back over on the Doomfist now, trying to create some kind of opening coming through here. Will be able to get another touch on the line. Has a little bit of care from Striker as well. But Striker, as close as they are to getting this Kitsune Rush over online, it's running out of time, running out of options. Unfortunately, they will fall just short. It's a good fight back, but eventually they will fall over 100-74.
Honestly, I mean, you really have to give Phantom Fatties a lot of credit there. And they were really one fight away, I think, from taking that point away from Micro, who had such an incredible start to that point there. I think you really start to see Boboro, Daisy, and All Black really kind of pick it up there, especially once they got control of the point. Like I said, the composition they were running was one that could really just control fights on point. Everything else from Micro is very much based on what I like to call those chaos comps. You have Wazy go running in there, knock people around, hit a pile drive, get out, and have Shin and Reach really clean up fights there, but it's really, really difficult to do that with the Queen. Boboro showing us a lot of great play on it there. Knife being a big benefit there as well. You have to remember they were able to pull Wazy off the map there, and that kind of allowed just a nice kind of setup there for Phantom Fatties to get everything going there. Already though, Wazy in the back line, I don't think anyone knows.
Oh, well, it might not matter too much whether they know or not. Is the headshot come through from Dalka? Reach is pulled in right now, but unfortunately, no cleave available there for Boboro to follow up, so they will be wiped away. Striker tries to get out Boboro as well, but none such shall happen. It's the team white to get things started here for Micro.
This is one thing I want to see here from Phantom Fatties. The only reason they capped the last point was because they heavily invested into one fight just to get there. Granted, it was also a heavy investment from Micro, but you now need to win a fight just dry or with only 1 or 2 ultimates. You cannot get up to 99% and have it be a desperation kind of play coming out from you here. You already do see, though, a little bit of just split play coming out here from Micro. As a nice boop there from Moshi to get Wazy away from them.
Yep. Trying to find the cleave right there. Unfortunately, not able to get anything out of the gate. Striker down is not going to make it any easier either. As unfortunately, this is going to be another slow burn as they'll eventually be taken out. Another fight going to be lost here in quick succession. Is this ball, again, now, Wazy, it's so difficult to deal with.
It really is. Oh, bye, Monday. It really is. I mean, again, they've only died twice, once by just a good play there from Boboro knocking them off the map, and the other one was just that really good team play there by Phantom Fatties to get everything going when they capped that point last time on point 1. Wazy, though, now being caught out here a little bit, but again, look at just all the attention that Wazy is pulling away here from Phantom, as a knife does land onto Lock2, but it's not really going to mean much here. Still, though, ultimate's about to be online right now for Micro, so they're in a good spot.
They certainly are right now, but they're going to be able to clean things up a little more. Offblack is going to try to even out the playing field right now. In fact, he's going to pop it. He manages to get rid of one. He's going to need a little bit more than that to try to take this one back around, forcing plenty of bodies back, but this isn't causing a flip of any kind to come through. Unfortunately, this is going to result in both of them likely being finished off here really late, unless Moshi has the ult. Unfortunately, won't be able to, and now this is just a big slow burn.
Yeah, and it's a huge stagger as well. You're now in the same situation that you were last point, where you're going to have to invest all your ultimates here pretty early on, but essentially, I mean, the Rampage just gets suited out.
Yeah, and now this is looking like cleanup center right now. Only one person anywhere close to getting the touch, and it's Daisy over there, as Ridge is literally keeping everybody in the spawn room. No one can go anywhere. There's going to be no retouches. This one, decisive as Micro take this in 2 old-fashioned 100-0 to finish it off.
Yeah, and everything that Phantom Fatties had from point 1 to point 2, or whatever momentum I thought they had, completely disappeared going into Control Center. And a map where Brawl is really much kind of the name of the game. You see a lot of teams play it, but Micro's still stuck with this ball, and it was just a little bit too much here for Phantom Fatties. I would not really be surprised here that if going into next map, we see that one immediately just banned out. The ball just be banned out, just to say like, hey, let's see what else they have, because that ball from I'm forgetting, Wazy was just too much of a problem there for Phantom Fatties. I mean, the ball was dragging too much attention, and because of that, you saw Shin, you saw Reach just be able to do whatever they want, because everyone was trying to always figure out where Wazy was on that Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, and it's so difficult to deal with, because Wrecking Ball is very much a thing where you have to try to keep him in check, but realistically, if you want to find the results and stop the inherent value ball gets, it's either all 5 you have to ignore it and push the front line and try to take a quick 5v4, or you basically all need to turn it, develop resources to try to burn away that ball, or at the very least, force them to rotate all the way out. Mm-hmm. Neither is inherently risk-free, obviously. Both are difficult. That's why I think the ball is as powerful as it is, but we'll see what the adjustment is going to come through here for Phantom Fatties, as they're going to bring us over to Esperanza. The ban, though, will be into question, as we feel like it should be the ball, because everything else, for the most part, was kind of locking into the mirror format.
Yeah, and I mean, the ball would make the most sense here, but you have to the Phantom Fatties are probably questioning, is it too much of a reactionary ban to ban it out now? Because if you ban it out now, you have the rest of the series. However, if you lose this map, you're probably most likely going to be banning it out next map, unless you're going to be bringing us to a map where the Wrecking Ball finds almost 0 value. But Hunter, I think me and you have been casting this game long enough to know that Wrecking Ball players, if they know how to play the ball, they know how to make any map a ball map. And it looks like Phantom Fatties have decided, yeah, that might just be the case no matter what. Let's hold on to that ball ban for next map, potentially. D.Va, though, going to be the hero being banned out here this time around. And again, this, I think, goes right into what I was talking about with Boboro being a really good Winston player. Get rid of the D.Va. You really are forcing the other team to either match the Winston or just continue playing the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, I don't mind this at all. In fact, I like this route a lot, because while they can very much still go the Wrecking Ball, it's going to be a scenario where I think you're able to play a lot more of a fast-paced style with the Winston compared to the Queen. The Queen can definitely be fast, definitely has a lot of sustainability, But this is less about sustainability and more about taking these quicker fights to where the ball doesn't get as much inherent value. And if there's a character that's really good at shutting down things like the Winston, Diva is most certainly it. So we'll see what the other ban is going to be here momentarily coming through from Micro. I'm trying to think in my head what route you reasonably go down right here. If you wanted to completely kill the pace of the Winston, you could get rid of something like the Carry, like the Lucio, to completely stop those fast-paced fights. But is it worth it to you at that point to basically do the same to yourself?
Well, I mean, we always talk about like that double-edged sword. Yeah, you're gonna get something that really affects how the other team plays, but you're also gonna be getting rid of something that affects how your team plays. And I feel like we've seen a lot of teams be okay with that because they know another team wants to play something a little bit differently. Like we talked about, Boro, at least from what I saw on Friday, a really good Winston player prefers to play that Winston, it seems like. So you get rid of that Lucio, like you said, it forces them to play a little bit slower or forces them to play maybe something like the Juno. However, it's going to be the Cassidy instead being banned out here. And this feels like a very much like, hey, maybe they might get the idea to play Cass to try to slow down our wrecking ball. Let's just make sure that doesn't happen here.
Yep, it's a simple ban of like, hey, we know exactly what the threats are to our Wrecking Ball. We want to take away as many threats as humanly possible, whether it came out last map or not. So I like this ultimate. And plus, you don't go for the double-edged sword tactic. You put yourself in a really good position as a result. And just, honestly, Dex, it's just one less worry to have to deal with. Yeah. Put yourself in a better position.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like we talked about coming into the series, normally you've seen your hit scan players really focusing on that Emre or the Sojourn. Yeah, Cass has started to make a little bit of a resurgence here as of late, but still less playing time than this Cass or than the Emre and the Soj. And especially since we saw both hit scan players play Emre last map, it's not necessarily a big surprise. Like I said, it feels like it's mostly just a ban to make sure maybe we don't see the cast come out here from Phantom Fatties to slow down Wazy on that Wrecking Ball. If we do see the Wrecking Ball this map, because honestly, we could just see a match here with the Winston, maybe even something like the Hazard. That Hazard could definitely work on a map like Esperanza here. But we'll be heading in here momentarily. Looks like no big swaps coming in here for either team. Hunter, like as Hunter mentioned earlier on, Micro only has 5 players. Phantom Fatties, they do have a couple subs, but it looks like none of them are going to be coming in to start our second map of the series.
Yep, so we'll see how things end up going down as a direct result. As we're just waiting for, I think, somebody to properly connect to the lobby before we're in on this one. As, yeah, there we go. Exactly as intended. So we'll see what ends up coming through. Obviously, Esperanza, I think a map where you could reasonably play a lot of things. But if we do see that dive route come through for both teams with the Winston and Ball respectively, it feels like it shouldn't be a surprise whatsoever.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with this map kind of being looked at, in my opinion, with the push maps as being that dive-centric one. The high grounds, we always talk about the high grounds here before the checkpoints on each side because of how much control that really the attacking team has. It's one of those rare moments, I feel like, in Overwatch where the attacking team actually has a little bit more advantage because they're able to play some high grounds, and the defending team really has to play very, very safe here. But coming out of the gate, there's Bobero on that Winston. Off black, though, currently teasing us with the Sombra. This definitely feels like something that would be there just in case they expect Wazy to come back out on the Wrecking Ball. However, immediately back over to the Emre. On the other side, though, I'm waiting for the swaps. I believe Wazy. At this point, I don't believe Reach. They're okay. They're actually running this. Oh, okay. Double hit scan, something that we haven't seen in a long time, maybe since the original Overwatch. Of Widow and Soldier. Very, very different. Very different and well. And you also have Lockju coming out here on the Wu Yang as well here. A very, I feel like, boom or bust kind of composition coming out for them.
Yeah, but you're getting some boom right now as you've already got rid of 2. And you've already done everything necessary right now. Bobero's not going to be able to do a thing here right now. The best thing you can do is try to get out alive. Take the reset. That's what everybody's trying to do. But everyone is on the chase right now. As unfortunately, Bobero will not escape.
Yeah, and I mean, I would not be surprised to see some more swaps come out here now from Phantom Fatties. I don't think this Winston's going to really like going into this comp on the other side, even though you have a sniper and a soldier. I just don't think you want to deal with the Hog, because the Hog will just be able to pull you out so much stuff, allowing Reach, allowing Shin, hell, even allowing Lockju and Dalka to be able to find a lot of damage here early on. You need a lot of help now from your DPS line if you're Phantom Fatties, but already look at Wazy here, going for the hook, gonna miss it this time around. but Phantom Fatty is trying to get up on that high ground. They're gonna give up
they're
point
trying
for free.
to. Yeah, the question is how much kind of... okay, bye, Bubba. It was good knowing you. We're going to have momentary stall, but it eventually is going to go over, and this is already not a good territory, and right now, you're probably wishing you had that Diva.
Yeah, and a minute 24 to cap first checkpoint. Hunter, that might be the fastest mean you have seen on any control map. Still no subs coming out here from the side of Phantom Fatty just yet, but you see them going after the backline. They're gonna at least gonna be able to find reach, but I think Wazy right now doesn't necessarily care that their team's losing this fight.
No, not a ton right now. You've already made really good progress. Make it 71 meters on that one. Wazy is still in there, though. And that's a big threat in its own right, because everyone else is going to be able to run, get out of dodge right here. Wazy gets rid of another, by the way, so even if they lose this fight, they've gotten so much progression to where it's like, how can you not be happy? Especially as another hook, Wazy is just burning time away.
And Wazy's staying alive as well. Granted, as I say that, they will probably most likely die, but they're still alive and kicking. I'm surprised we didn't see a little bit more of a chase down on them, knowing that they were so low, but this is actually going to allow everyone here for Micro to come right back in and play very aggressively. Shin, though, almost out early on, but look at that bot.
Yep, speaking of Shin, though, Tactical Visor going to be online. Can't remember the last time I saw a Tactical Visor in Faceit League, but right now, it's finding some value. Moshi jumps in and will be taken care of very swiftly. So right now, Wazy still hanging around is just going to make things so abhorrently difficult to have to deal with right here. Bobero more than happy to keep things going as well, but Off Black's got to be the one to turn things around for this fight going forward, as for the time being, all it's really doing, Dex, is just making room as Wazy barely misses that hook.
Yeah, and Hunter, you want to one good thing about giving up this big of a lead right now if you're Phantom Fatties? There's still 7 minutes on the clock. You could really afford to lose a couple fights here and then still just get going your own way, as they'll finally be able to get something going just over 3 minutes. Bobero finds reach. I mean, this is a moment right now where if you're Phantom Fatties, you find one more pick, you're in a spot where you can kind of start to snowball it a little bit. Yeah,
and Bobero is just being thrown into everything. Luckily, he's going to stay alive. He's going to get some momentary care and pull the corner, but that obviously Alcohol did make a lot of space to work with. Made Bobero pretty much useless, but now double Consumer Rush is here. No other else available quite yet. Moshi is right around the corner from having this sound barrier. To be fair, it could be the one that maybe defines this fight right here in the 4v4. Bobero cannot be hooked again, and yet they will! And that is such a critical hook, and that should end this fight.
And it's absolutely gonna here. I don't think anyone else on the side of Phantom Fatties can really do anything else here. They're just gonna have to fall back and really regroup, as this fight is, yeah, like I said, already done and dusted. They got 26 meters, so able to eat into that lead a little bit right now, but it should be forward spawns going back over towards Micro at the moment. But you have Beat, you have Pulse Bomb online here for the side of Phantom, so you're not necessarily out of this fight pretty early on. Well, the only thing you have to worry about on the other side is that Visor, as Shin, I believe, already setting up on the high ground, gonna make it very difficult, I think, for Phantom to get back or start to move the bot back towards the initial spawn.
It'd be very difficult. And now you have to time this correctly, because, oh my god, when she gets pulled in, worst case scenario just happened, and now I think you're seeing like the go bell go off everybody's head right now. You drop off the high ground, you take more and more space right here as Bobero barely manages to get away from that hook as Pulse Bomb's thrown out. Won't find any recipients, but right now you see Moshi trying to make it back, hits the sound barrier, gets the necessary people. It's going to help them collect this one up and take this one back around. But this fight isn't truly over until Wazy goes down.
And Wazy gonna get some assists right there. That will be counted as a boop kill by them, but Reach still alive and kicking in the back. I think Bobero's at least gonna get some revenge on them here. Yep, they will. Off Black, they're gonna be spawning at the far spawns. The only person who won't get the close spawns right now for Micro will be Reach. Unfortunately, they'll get the long ones. However, they're not, I don't think, that important in the early part of any fight. I feel like the Widows are always more important in the later parts of fights here, so they have some time. But it should be this Phantom Fatties team being able to get back to the barrier right now. But it looks like they're going to try and take a fight here. Because honestly, if they want to fight from this point, Hunter, they should be able to get forward spawns.
They should be able to right now. Let's see what ends up happening, though. We have Overwatch Protocol ready to go here. But it's going to be Bobero who goes in aggressive. Obviously, managed to find already with Dalka. Forces some bodies around. Big kick. Hook, I should say. Coming through as Bobero just simply cannot escape. Gets forced out massively so. And without your Winston, unfortunately, this is going to become near impossible to pull back.
Yeah, I mean, you see everyone right now for Phantom just trying to run out of here as fast as they can. Striker, call that hook, line, and sinker right there as the hook came out from Wazy on them, and Shin just make sure they go back to the spawn. But again, it is the silver lining in there for that fight for Phantom is the fact they were able to get a little bit more distance on that cart, and you're coming up to 3 ultimates. However, on the other side, you're about to come up to 4. Shin, another visor about to be online for them here. The last time the bot was actually at the side of the map, Shin used that visor and basically found nothing with it. So again, it could be a pretty heavy ult fight here, but
yeah, that's a really bad. Oh yeah, that's not great. And now we're gonna head into the 80-meter range. We're probably going into the 90, maybe 100-meter range before there's another retouch. Oh
it's gonna be 100 meters here. It is. It would be almost certain death for anyone from Phantom to really try to go out there and just regroup, especially with visors online, so everyone knows where everyone is at the moment. There's 100 meters and counting, so that lead getting up to 70 meters right now. Dive from Bobro, I believe, trying to get on to Dalco, not gonna be able to find them there, but now Consumer Rush out from them immediately.
Yep, and right now you're waiting for the thing you're going to throw in it, and no, you try to get there. It doesn't happen. A visor coming through here. Bobro is getting burned apart. Lucky to still be alive, quite frankly, as with this massive lead, you're allowed to kind of back up a little bit, keep playing your poke game. You want to take as much time away as humanly possible, and to be fair, wasting get rid of Daisy is a great way to do so. Wazy is just taking away so much attention, making it so difficult to somehow get Striker past the tree. What?
I mean, Wazy's showing us right now 13-1, almost 6,000 or over 6,000 damage and almost 5,000 healing on this Roadhog. I mean, I feel like a lot of people still look at Roadhog as a very much a little bit of a joke pick, but there are certain players out there who can really make the Hog work, and Wazy is proven to be one of those players right now. Reach and Shin getting rid of that backline right here, and they're looking for the full map completion here.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there was no Winston that could stand a chance in there. Daisy and Off Black are still hanging around. Pulse Bomb goes out, finds no recipients as a couple more touches still yet to come through right here. Hook going to go through thanks to that cleanse, but it's not going to matter as,
Unfortunately.
I'm not going to make any assumptions. We're just going to,
they joined back.
Unfortunateness. Okay.
They joined back in, so we should be getting, we just have to now wait the 45 seconds.
Yeah, to have like probably 2 seconds of game time, realistically, because the only touch existing right now is Striker. I don't even think Striker can retouch, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I mean, basically, you can't unless we see a miracle come out here. Essentially, it will be Micro finding the second map win here, putting them on series point. And I mean, we saw a little bit of fight back from Phantom Phase map 1. We saw a little bit of fight back from Phantom Phase here in map 2. But it just seems like once this Micro team gets the ball rolling, they're a very hard team to stop. We talk about a lot of times momentum is a really, really tough thing. And one thing I was going to talk about here, if we did see Phantom Phase control the bot again, was we normally talk about 50-50 Overwatch on maps like this, on push maps. I feel like this is the one map, though, Hunter, me and you very rarely talk about it.
Yeah, and it turns out 2 seconds went much more than 2 seconds. I gotta be frank. Right now, as Off Black has made a little bit of space right here, is in a bit of a critical situation, but I think maybe you've gotten what's necessary to realistically pull this one back, but Bobro needs to stay alive, keep the ball rolling right now. Shin is getting forced out, is close to burning down right now, plays a little ring around the Rosie, but eventually will be taken care of. But I say it every time, as long as Wazy's alive, this card is going to make no progress.
I mean, it does seem like Off Black is trying to steal the bot away from them here, but they have to remember they've been able to kill some members of Micro here. But Moshi finding Dalco, finding Reach. Wazy's still alive, but I think they're gonna have to accept their death here.
Oh my god!
Oh my goodness, they're still alive. Okay, eventually they will fall, but only a minute left on the clock, Hunter. You look at that lead, 107 meters. It's a long one. It is a very, very long one. If it comes to, if it somehow, some way, Phantom Phase comes back and wins this map, I think it would be the longest that me and you would have ever seen here in Faceit League.
Oh, I couldn't have said it better myself, and now you are in such critical territory. And you see this immediately, they just back up. They really don't want to be there, but yet they don't have a choice. Cleanse is going to come out. Off Black is going to be taken out. Everyone is separated away. And unfortunately, there's just nothing you can do in that situation. You're going to be rushed down with that Getsune Rush. Wazy gets rid of 2 already. Helps with the 3rd. And now they're going to still move up with this bot because why not? They feel that confident as eventually they will get off.
Yeah, they will get off. They understood they pushed it past the choke point here. It's going to be a possibility for them to get back and get a touch. Moshi fallen, though. There goes probably your best opportunity for a touch, especially since Bobro does not have Primal. But they're going to go for it here. Bobro gonna barely get a touch here, but you're already down 1. Overtime, though, has procced.
Yeah, right now you have a Consumer Rush right here, and unfortunately, it's gonna get used, but it's just not gonna matter a whole lot here. Reaches in the back, and whether or not this fight is lost or won does not matter any longer. It'll be a big one coming through for Micro, put themselves over on match points, and again, that's why I feel like those first few minutes, it feels like it really did kind of start close. There was a little bit more fight back. Once they got past that checkpoint, truthfully, it was tough to even just get back to the neutral zone.
I mean, honestly, you have to remember how fast Microx got started on this map. A minute 25 to get that first checkpoint. Phantom Faz was able to fight back after that and make it close in like 3-4 fights. But after that, you start to see some perks come online for Micro. It just started to snowball their way right there. And I mean, it should have been the map completion. Phantom Faz did a good job making sure it at least wasn't that we saw the entirety of the map be played there. But I'm just looking at the stats right now. I mean, it's insane. You have Wazy going 21-2 on that hog, almost 9,500 damage, over 6,000 healing. I mean, hell, Wazy, I mean, Moshi left, so their stats are a little bit messed up. But I mean, you look at just their own team right here. You had Dalka get 8,000, Lockju get 7,000, and then right behind them is Wazy at 6,000 on the hog. I mean, we saw get a very good amount of use there. Same thing though with Shin and Reach. They did exactly what they need to do, combining there for 35 kills that entire map. A really, really good job.
Yeah, no, it's a phenomenal job by them, and now they put themselves in such a good position right here to where you see the immediate reaction band to get rid of the Roadhog, and you feel like you know what's going to happen. It's just going to go back to the Wrecking Ball scenario that they brought back over on Lijiang, and they're going to run it down that way. This is another area where a lot of these points are a little more closed in, kind of like some of the ones on Lijiang Tower. I think it plays into what they want to do regardless, but I think the real answer is with this Hog ban, with being Servasa, is what is the attempt here from Fan and Fatties in terms of, like, what do they want to run here?
I mean, I think it's honestly going to be either the Winston or I believe I did remember them playing a Hazard on Friday on this map. They brought a Hazard out against, I believe it was Element Ice. It's bad that I'm forgetting who they played on Friday, considering it was only, at this point, a little over 2 days ago. But I believe they did play the Hazard on this one, and it struggled. It struggled a little bit, but it was able to hold its own in some fights. They didn't end up winning a point that map, but still, I mean, you just need something to go your way here. You could look at Boboro, who I think has been probably the best performer so far of anyone on the side of Phantom Fatties, but still, it's the tank. We'll normally give a little bit more credit to the tank here. That DPS line, though, of Off Black and Striker has kind of just been very hit or miss. However, it's just because the other team I think is playing really good. Wazy was able to disrupt a lot. Reach and Shin, playing a very unorthodox DPS line last map, was able to find a lot of value. Maybe someone would argue maybe a little bit more than you would expect from a Widow and a Soldier on wow, name every other map on Esperanza.
Yeah, you said it yourself right there. And I couldn't have found a better way to put it. But yeah, we'll see what comes to form, though. Obviously, with the Emray not in play, I think it's realistically fine. I don't think you were playing it like a ton, or more so, you weren't relying on it. Offback has been playing it throughout almost, I think, pretty much the entirety of this series so far. Now he's gonna have to go somewhere else, potentially the Sojourn, as that is technically, or I should say, man, we're both caught up today. It's normally either the Sojourn or the Emray. If one is down, people just tend to gravitate towards the other instead.
Yeah, and at this point, I'm just gonna believe whatever Micro's showing us in spawn is gonna be what they actually run out here with. Shin, though, on the Widow might be one that doesn't last very long, but you do see ways to go right back over to that Wrecking Ball here. Other side, though, really no big surprises. Daisy get probably swap back over to that Tracer right after the spawn. After the TP out, but you already look here. You see the entirety of Micro at point motion. They're going to be able to at least get Boboro here. And I mean, you could take a really quick fight here early on, and it looks like that's what Wazy wants to do.
Yeah, and they're moving in, and oh my god, they're just going to the back line. If they actually nail a headshot, I'm going to cry. Well, they're taking attention. That's the important part right now, but still, a little bit of silliness going on here in our third map of the night as Striker is going to start getting a lot of pressure. Wazy back over on this ball. Did phenomenal earlier, hoping to repeat the same results as we'll get the last second touch come through to stall things out for a little while longer. And with a little spin to win going on the point, it's going to create a really tough scenario. But Shin taken down is going to take away some of the Cat's inherent value here. They need to find some kind of help, some kind of assassination right now. But Dex, no one to be found right here, as in the situation they're in, people are going to get burnt away, and Faceit are going to start out strong here, but I imagine you're going to see a little more swaps come through than just the Sombra.
Yeah, Shin just getting off the Widow there. I imagine once Wazy kind of dies here, they're going to get the swap as well. But you see them have Catnap ready to go, so they might hold on to it here for a brief moment. Yeah, I think they're going to hold on to it. Actually, no, wait, my bad. Wazy over on the wrecking ball. I'm getting mixed up here. Mine's, though, out here pretty early on from them.
You're back one out again, dude. Mike is out 2 times in a row, one more, and everybody in chat gets a furry ice cream sandwich, but it's 52% on the board. You know who's not winning ice cream sandwich? Dobro, Off Black, Striker. None of them to do so. In fact, all of Fan and Fatties, no ice cream sandwiches to be found, as this one is going to be racked up on that one, and as they are chasing Dex. Oh my god. To be fair, make yourself a really good point right there. We'll see what comes through, as they're going to try to make sure your audio's on, by the way. Make sure that they're trying to find some kind of big follow-up right here, because so far they're doing a really good job of it. And they're taking so many of these fights off point to where it's really difficult to find any kind of level of substitute. Oboro is lucky to get over towards this point, but for the time being, they should be able to get the flip right here, as they're going to touch last second. Unfortunately, flip does come through.
But Shin's going to be able to find Daisy pretty early on. Override now. My bad. Overclock online here from Off Black.
Yeah, this is a lot being thrown in right now, but honestly, it feels like it's almost a series. Off Black is going to mix. Is going to get basically, well, I want to say solo EMP, but Striker gets hit as well. As you eventually see the picks come through here. Daisy's the only one alive, so is there a recontention? The question, or the answer right now is maybe, but is it worth it?
No, it wouldn't be worth it here. Yeah, you have a couple ultimates online, but you look at we're at the other side right now. You have both your support ultimates and probably Reach coming up to a full spawn. Daisy was gonna be a touch. Keyword was gonna be a touch, but Wazy catches them out here, and now, I mean, if you're Fan Fatties, you're gonna have to get ready for the next point. While you do have a couple ultimates online, the other team's gonna have about 3 going into the next one.
Yeah, 100% they will. It's a lot to work with. It's going to be a really rough scenario to pull back from here. But you see where the point is, very much so by where they're positioned at. Dalka more than happy to be aggressive. Unfortunately, just doesn't work out all that well. But still, this fight is not done and dusted. Wazy still hanging around over on the ball. Has so many sustainability factors to work with. You have the sound barrier, and Moshi doesn't. You definitely have solutions to come in here and stall this point out to get your full 5 back.
And Wazy's halfway to another minefield. That'd be their 3rd one of the map here, and the second point hasn't even opened up just yet, or been capped just yet. Kitsune Rush out now from Dalka. I imagine that beat's not that far behind from Lockju.
Nope, not at all. You see all that pressure. You've already lost out on Daisy. The question is, do you Primal Rage here? The answer apparently is yes. Let's go for it. Immediate boot back, though. Gonna be going through from Lockju to force the back. Gets hacked out as well. Trying their darndest, but unfortunately, it's just not gonna matter, as Bobo just has to get out with their life instead.
Yeah, so one ultimate invested there by Fan and Fatties doesn't really lead to much, and the consumers on the other side, the only thing invested there is already Wazy and the rest of Micro already kind of, teasing that spawn right there, gonna be able to shut down Mochi.
Yeah, puts them in a good position. Again, still Sound Bear available. Mochi now gonna have the matching coming up here as well, a little bit more to work with. But when you're walking into things like the mines, like the EMP around the corner, there's such a lack of solutions realistically here. The fact that Bobro is just struggling to even stay alive. Eventually is going to be able to come back together. Sound Barrier is out. Unfortunately, it doesn't reach its designation in time to keep Bobro alive. Now, the spawns are closer, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to make a massive difference right here, as Off Flag is going to be taken out. Everybody's being separated away. Finished off. Moshi's the only one who got out alive.
Boro going to go in right now. I understand why they're doing that, but they might just want to regroup with their team in spawn and kind of just give up this second point. But I think at this point in the series, they are really not thinking about that. However, it seems like Cooler have at least prevailed here for the moment. They're just going to give up the second point, play for the 3rd one right now. And I mean, you have 3 ultimates online, but still 3 ultimates ready for Micro as well.
Yeah, it's not pretty, especially knowing that you full well know you're walking into an EMP. You know what's going to be coming your way, and all you can do is scout it out, prepare for it as best as humanly possible. And a sound barrier would be a great way to do it. Unfortunately, it was used in that previous fight. So now you lose out on that solution. And Shin, to be fair, is in absolutely no rush at this EMP. But now everyone in the room, it goes off. It hits a grand total of 4 people. And unfortunately, everybody in that equation is broken beyond repair, as Bobro would love to get back to spawn, but such a privilege shan't be given.
And just what a smart play there by Micro. They saw Bobro make the dive on that high ground, understood that it was that they basically just left their team all on their own. Shin was just like, oh, hey, perfect opportunity to EMP, found for fight over really quickly right there. Now Wazy looking for the pile drive and their 3rd minefield of the game.
Yep, it has had it for a hot minute, let's be real, but gets used, and it gets used successfully, I might add, as everyone's going to try to just simply get out alive. And to be fair, everyone for the time being has done so, but it's not just about staying alive, it's about regrouping and being able to take a legitimate fight, because Dex, they have the ult to take a fight, but the opening is not being given to them.
Yeah, they might just need to force one here. Pulse bomb out though, gonna find off block, but Asuzu, I believe, saved more people.
It did, but the question is that even going to be enough? And the answer is, unfortunately, no, it's not. It is just a full wipe coming through for the squad right here. Bobro is going to go down. They're taking their sweet time, though, as Bobro will go down. The question is, who's going to touch? And again, it might have to be Daisy.
Bobro could do it with Primal Rage, use all their jumps to try to get the point, but they would need the rest of their team to be falling behind them very quickly. And it seems like Micro wants to try to make sure they don't even have the opportunity.
Yep, you know, with 95% over on the board, try as they might, they'll get the touch at the very last second. Daisy is there as well. It is the all or nothing assault coming through now from Phantom Betties to keep themselves in this one, but Sound Barrier comes through. He's going to catch on to all 5 members, puts them in a really good scenario right now. It's all about trying to hunt down some bodies. Getting rid of Shin is a great way to do so, but you see mines thrown over onto the point. One going to be forced away right here. They're getting touches one after another, but it's already 2 coming through with those mines. Bobro is being separated. The supports, try as they might, are being demolished one after another. It's 3 coming through from Wazy, the 4th to finish them off, and they will move up to 5-1. Micro looking like a top 4 team if I've ever seen one.
Oh, very much so. I mean, we knew how good these players were coming into this map, how good this team was coming into this entire series. But again, it's Micro just impressing us throughout the entirety of it. Had some, let's say, funny moments, at least at the start of the map. They gave Phantom Fatties a little bit of a chance on that first point, but they locked in for points 2 and 3, and you saw just the skill gap right there with everyone on Micro. I will say this though, Wazy, 28-0. That final map, never died on the wrecking ball, never punished, as some might say. And I mean, hell, they played incredible on that ball throughout the entire series. And Hunter, me and you have talked about it a lot, especially with the team in North America that is, well, now in OWCS for the most part. Actually, yeah, I believe all of them are in OWCS. But that had a really good wrecking ball specialist, and we talked about how good that could really be, because you don't see that many wrecking ball specialists out there. So when you do, it's very, very difficult to shut them down, because you saw Waze throughout this entire series know how to do all the wrecking ball tech, and there was nothing that Phantom Fatties could have done about it.
Unfortunately, not. It's rough. I mean, we definitely know it is rough to deal with a wrecking ball, because you said to yourself, this is one of those specialty tanks where if someone comes in and utilize it, a lot of your series is going to be codependent on, or completely dependent on, how fast do we find a solution for the ball. And there are teams out there that already know their solution. They dealt with it in the past. They know, like, hey, this is exactly what they do. But that's not every team, Dax. It doesn't necessarily come down to if it's a good team or a not as good team. It doesn't come down to that. It just comes down to being prepared for that and knowing that, hey, we know how to deal with something like that, because one team that's really good at dealing with the Reinhardt might not be good at dealing with the Winston. Same things vice versa. That's simply how it goes down in this game. But for Micro, they knew what they wanted to do with the ball and the hog, and Phantom Fatties unfortunately just could not find a solution to deal with it.
Yeah, and you talked about here standings right now in the South American region with this win here. It is Micro going up to 5-1, and we talked about coming into this one here. They're starting to get themselves set up for a very, very comfortable spot to be able to just kind of coast into the playoffs here. I mean, I'm going to look at who they have coming up here with a couple of their games. I mean, they honestly, I mean, you still have Piso Sour. That's their next game on Wednesday. Then Ragnarok. Actually, wait, no, that's my bad. Everything is off. You have Element Ice on Wednesday, Ragnarok on Friday. So two good teams there. Element Ice has shown us some stuff throughout the season. I think they're probably the better of the two Element teams here in South America. I think that could be a really good one. Ragnarok is a good test. Piso Sour though is their last game, and that might be their only other loss this season.
Yeah, it might just be. I think that Ragnarok and Element Ice game, I think those could be a slippery slope potentially, because we especially saw Ragnarok during the beginning of the season how well they can do. I think Element Ice really showed in the Battle of the Elements how good they are and how well they were able to shut down Element Heaven in that exchange. And of course, you have the Agave teams that are very much hanging in there. They haven't played quite as many games, have that extra game or two to still play on top of everything else, including the Battle of the Cutlery between both of them going on this coming Friday, which we will be there. But there's a lot going on. There's still a lot of ways I think it can realistically go down. I think we know two teams at this point pretty definitively that are probably going to be in that top four. But I really do think it's a bit of a race for that third and especially that fourth place position, where that fourth place, I could see it going to like 4 other teams right now, very reasonably.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right about that. I'm looking now at Fatty's remaining schedule here, and they still have Ragnarok, they still have Piso Sour, and they have Factor X and Agave still on their couple last games here. They have a decently tough one. It's gonna be hard for them to kind of hang around, but we talk about every season, Hunter. This is about the halfway point in the season. There's a lot of chaos that happens, and I mean, we've seen teams end up missing out on playoffs because someone just wasn't available one night, so they had to forfeit. There could be some wild stuff that happens. I am not counting this Phantom Fatties team out because I think they have the pieces. They just need to be able to get on a little bit of a streak here. They though play Ragnarok on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy from here on out. We're already, in terms of South America, at that halfway point of the season where everyone's played half their games. The other half is still to come, but that means there's a lot of games still to come as well. And while we're going to take, I think, this evening to finalize our schedule going through for the rest of the week, obviously when we know, y'all will know as well, but there is a lot of games going on this week, a lot of fun to be had, so make sure you're keeping an eye on the socials for that schedule and everything that is to come for this week. But from myself, from Dextron as well, thank you all for coming out for this South American game, and hopefully a lot more action to come. So we'll see you next time for some more Faceit League action. Take care, y'all.